Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for attending our webinar this evening. Really happy to have you all join us. We have a jam-packed presentation. Really excited to have the Florida team on the webinar tonight. Wanted to do a little bit of housekeeping before we get started and just wanted to make sure everyone can hear us loud and clear. If you can please just type in the chat box or in the question box and let us know that you can hear us, that would be great. We'll give you a couple minutes and let you guys submit those inquiries. Thanks. So I'm seeing quite a bit of new names as well as some names that I've seen before. So what I always like to do to start these presentations is just explain a little bit more about who Marshall Reddick is and what we do. So Marshall Reddick is a full service real estate firm, and we focus on three primary services, one being real estate brokerage, two property management, and three private lending. So we do real estate brokerage. I'm located in Newport Beach, California. So we do real estate brokerage here in Southern California, as well as in one of our 16 different markets across the country. Today, we're going to be talking about Florida in particular, but real estate brokerage is one of our main services. Anytime that we have investors who are purchasing, out of the state that they reside in, 99% of them are going to use property management. So our property management services cover, marketing the property, rent collection, showings, rent disbursement, any maintenance problems, basically anything that an owner would have to deal with while owning a property. And our final service is actually going to be private lending, which has two different clients. We have borrowers and we have lenders. Our borrowers are going to be people who are looking to do fix and flips on homes, maybe looking to borrow money to tap into their solo 401k or self-directed IRA to invest in property. And on the flip side of that, the other client is going to be our lenders. So the same way that we have individuals investing in properties, we have individuals who can invest in mortgages. So that is that's a pretty unique niche that we have as well. So really excited to be able to offer all three of those services. But today we are going to be talking about brokerage, particularly in the Florida market. So a little bit more about myself. My name is Vince Tomich, and I'm an advisor here at Marshall Reddick. My main role is to learn as much as I can about each one of you investors so that I can help you guys accomplish your short-term and long-term goals. I have been in the real estate industry for quite some time now. I have about 4 years in residential mortgage as a residential mortgage lender, and that's where I learned a lot about the power of leveraging money and being able to take an investment and utilize it in other markets, because being based here in Southern California, you realize that the purchase prices are pretty significant. And when I was able to open my eyes and see that there's other markets that the prices are a lot better, it really pushed me forward to wanting to acquire property of my own. So over the last 3 years, I've been able to acquire 3 single families, and it's just completely motivated me to dive full into the investment space. And that's how I was actually linked up with Marshall Reddick, is through a webinar just like this. I was listening in, I learned more about the company, I visited the website, I actually was on, I think, a Florida webinar. And once I met with the guys at the company, I pretty much was sold on wanting to do this full time. So that's how I got started with the company, and that's a little bit more about my background. Now, one thing that you can expect, so as an advisor, my role is to reach out to you guys after these events. And what you can expect from a consultation call with me is to understand the who, what, when, where, and why. I'm looking to get some feedback from you guys and understand why you decided to get involved in real estate, right? we want to establish your options. How would you be purchasing this? Are you going to be looking to use a conventional loan? Are you going to be purchasing cash? Are you going to be doing a 1031 exchange, right? So there's different ways to acquire this, and we want to establish that. Nailing down a time frame, also really important. Some people have just specific goals in mind. If it's a 1031 exchange, there's actually rules in which we have to, finish this transaction. So time frame is also an important factor. And then your search criteria. Are you looking for a single family home? Are you looking for a duplex? What are your expectations? So that is something that we can help establish. And then identifying your markets. Where exactly will you be investing? And then finally is introducing you to all your key players. So initially, the phone call starts with me and going over some of these key points, but then you will quickly be introduced to our preferred lender, Reed Hazard, who will cover conventional financing, which is how 99% of the buyers usually acquire property. And then we'll be introducing you to our agents in the various markets. And then today, like I said, we're going to be talking exclusively about Florida, and we're going to have Ken and Terry on to go into a little bit more detail, and that will be coming up shortly. So where to invest? What you're going to learn about today is really exciting to have Ken and Terry on, because these are the major elements that we focus on to determine what are good markets and what are good markets to invest in. So not every market across the United States is a good market to invest in. And what we like to focus on is a solid job market. We want to make sure that there's good employers there, that these renters are going to be able to pay their rent on time. We're looking for a low vacancy rate. In general, we want to make sure that that's just a trend across this particular market. Economic diversity. Not only do we want a strong job market, but we want different types of employers, right? We don't want just one employer taking care of the whole community. Housing affordability, something what I briefly touched on earlier. Being in Southern California, prices are pretty high, and it's difficult to acquire investment property at those price points. And when you see what some of the properties are going for in Florida, there's going to be we're definitely in range to make better decisions on that front. And then landlord friendly. Want to make sure that if there is ever any situations where tenants are being disruptive or there's any situation of that sort, we want to make sure that the landlord does have an upper hand. And strong education is important. Good school districts. Everybody wants to live in a nice area. School districts are important, and that's going to drive people to nicer areas and wanting to buy those homes and rent in those areas. And then finally is reliable property management. So you don't want to be stuck to just one, in these small towns where there's only one provider. You want to have your options, because you can buy a property at the best purchase price and have the numbers look perfect, but if it's not managed correctly, it could definitely backfire on you. So reliable property management is really important, especially for the long term, and especially if you're going to be investing, across the country. So this is just a quick glimpse of the markets that we do business in. So we're in 16 major metropolitan markets across the U.S., across 8 different states. And today, as I mentioned, we are going to be focusing on the Fort Myers area, Cape Coral included, and Ken and Terry will go into a little bit more detail. Before we pass the mic over to them, I just like to do a quick poll. All of your answers will be, none of your names will be shown. It's just going to have, percentages, and we just want to get an idea of, what the crowd looks like in terms of real estate. So I'll go ahead and read that off. How many investment properties do you currently own? So we have 0, 1 to 2, 3 to 4, and 5 plus. So we're going to take 30 seconds to a minute here and let you guys cast your votes, and that'll give Ken and Terry a better idea of who they're talking to on this webinar tonight. Okay, guys, we're going to go ahead and get this closed out. So stand by while we get the results. Awesome. So it looks like it looks pretty close. So about 36% at no properties currently, 36% in between 1 and 2, and 27% in the 3 to 4 range. So that's awesome. This is going to be a really good webinar to go over some of the basics and some of the reasons why we have such high hopes for Florida. So without further ado, I'm really excited to introduce Ken and Terry Duffy. They have been with Marshall Reddick since 2004. And I'm going to let them go into a little bit of background on themselves and elaborate on the Florida market. So you guys are welcome to take it away.
All right, Vince.
Hello,
thanks.
everybody.
All right, guys. Welcome back. We are glad to be here tonight to reach out to everybody that's on the webinar tonight. Some of you guys may know us. Some of you guys may be new to the webinar. Terry and I have been with Marshall Reddick since 2004. Terry is the main transaction person that you'll deal with if you're looking to invest down here in South Florida. This slide kind of shows her information. You got her phone number and her email address. That's probably the two most important things that are on this slide. Basically tonight what we're going to do is just go over the webinar slides and move through it so we can get to the properties that we have that are available in the market. So for the guys and gals that are online right now that are looking to buy a property right away or try to secure something, our market is literally on fire. I'm going to be moving through the slides. There are not going to be every single slide in this webinar because we don't have enough time. So we want to move through it and be sensitive to everyone's time. So I will be talking off slide as well. So I may be on a slide, but there's a lot of other information. If you would like to see the entire presentation in its entirety, you can go to Marshall Reddick and go to the website, click on the Florida link. Terry constantly puts properties on the Marshall Reddick website, and they rotate consistently. They're coming on, they're coming off. Properties are moving real fast down here, anywhere from 15 to 30 days on the market for general listings, but the investment stuff goes fast. So if you see something you like, just fire an email, get on the phone, call Terry. And like I said, there's a lot of information. When we come out to Southern California and we do our presentations, I've usually got about 20 or 30 slides that are in the actual presentation with a ton of videos. So with that being said, there's a lot of information. So let's get started. So this is a picture of Terry and I. Hopefully we got the, hold on a second. Let me make sure this is on. Okay, so this is our market, South Florida. I want to sit right where you are. I'm going to swap seats with Terry here. Get me in front of the command center. We're on the west coast of Florida. We're on the quiet side. We are typically located about 2 hours from Tampa South, and we're about 2 hours to the west of Miami. Florida's population, like everybody knows, we're just exploding down here in South Florida on the west side. There is so much land available. There are so many people moving into the area. The current population of Florida, we kind of moved into the third place as far as the nation's concerned. So California, you guys still rank #1, and then Texas, and then comes Florida. So last year, we had over 330,000 people move into the state of Florida, which is tremendous. We have a massive baby boomer population that are coming, and where they're looking to move down to is areas that are new. Things are new, everything's new, building, construction, new homes, so they're all kind of looking for that. Southwest Florida is a little unique down in the Fort Myers MSA area because we are such a young area comparative to some of the areas like Miami, Tampa, and Orlando. So when investors come down, we just had a gentleman by the name of Guillermo come down with his wife last week, and they were just really impressed on how much new construction is going on because our area really has been growing steadily since we had a turn in the market. Right now, the population in Florida is about 21, headed to 26 million. So what they're saying every single year when I go off the Census Bureau, they're saying about 330,000 people, which is about the same size as Orlando, move to the state of Florida every single year. So it's a mix between retirees, people coming down here to start a different way of life, coming down for jobs. A lot of people are coming down because they're getting out of the snow. Let's see. Come on. So this is kind of like a little zoomed in micro section of where we are. Upper left-hand corner is going to be Cape Coral. That's where we probably do 90% of our business. Duplexes are the hottest thing going right now. Terry's probably got about 7 or 8 under contract right now. New construction. The existing ones, when they come on the market, they go off the market if they're really good, priced really well. But majority of the stuff we're going to builders and we're seeing what their inventory is, and we're getting ones that are actually in the final stages of being constructed, or they're available like within the next 6 months or coming up. So we're constantly looking for builders for inventory of new stuff. So to the right, we have Lehigh Acres. That's more like a bedroom community. It's a lower price as far as real estate goes because it's inland. Anything that you buy down in South Florida, in the Southwest area, if it has water around it or near water or close proximity to, is going to hold value very well. It's also going to be a little more expensive. So property values in Cape Coral pretty much predominantly go up higher in appreciation, and they also hold their value better, and they usually require higher rents. So the properties really perform well when we're talking about cash on cash. And then you've got the city of Fort Myers, which is an older city, but it's burgeoning. There's a lot of high rises coming out of the ground down there. And then down to the lower left there, you got Sanibel Island. It's always makes the list of the top 10 world's best beaches. So it's a very quiet island, very, very affluent. So the airport's going through an expansion. They're adding a whole new runway, a new tower, control tower. So the airport and all the commercial real estate around the airport is actually expanding too. So we'll move into that in other slides as well. So I think we're going to move right into the hand-picked investments, and then we're going to come back to some of my slides. So let me hit the next one here and see what we got coming up. And yeah, okay, so this is one I'm going to let Terry talk about, and then I'll probably come back with you guys in a little bit.
This is one in Fort Myers. We don't get a whole lot that are actually in the city of Fort Myers, because Fort Myers is normally either they're way too high price for investors or they're in areas that we don't want to be in. So when we do get one, we kind of get excited about it because we do have a lot of requests for rentals in this market. So this is just a duplex that was fully renovated. So it's very nice on the inside. And if you go onto the website, you can pull these up, and there's a lot of inside photos on here. But it's a 2-bedroom, 2-bath. It's a little bit older, 1971. But like I said, it has been renovated, and it's got a brand new roof as of last year. The roofs are really important in our area because if it's an older property that is older than a 2003 and it does not have a new roof, then the insurance gets very high. So I kind of veer away from anything that's going to take away from the cash flow or the profit for the investors. But this has got a brand new roof on it, a new AC system, new windows. The paver driveway is a great accent, great upgrade also. So I like this one, and so I put it on the market. And the price is awesome at $185. That's actually pretty low for this area. And if you look at the monthly income, $681, that's pretty strong. The ROI is over 12%. So it's just one of the few that you can take a look at. We're going to have some in Cape Coral and some in Lehigh also. But like I said, it's very few that we actually get in the city of Fort Myers. So it's just a really nice property. To the next one. All right. This is a new build in Cape Coral. These are probably the hottest commodities that we have right now. Cape Coral has broken all records, actually Lee County, in multifamily permits over the past year. The builders literally can't keep up with the demand for duplexes in the area. They rent faster than any others, and single family homes included. They cash flow, and they're at a very reasonable price. But these are on city utilities, and with all the assessments paid, so there's never anything extra there. They're not in flood zones. Flood zones are kind of a strange thing here because they are strictly dependent on the elevation of the property, so it goes by address. So when I'm searching for properties, I put it in there, and that's one of the first things I check with the insurance company to make sure they're not in a flood zone, because flood insurance is basically, you can just double the insurance overall, and it takes away, once again, from the profits. So I stay away from that. So the new builds in Cape Coral normally are the best value for investments for new stuff. The older ones, they get lower rent, so they don't cash flow as much, and you have a higher maintenance, where any of the new builds have the builder's warranty on them for the first year. So it's kind of a no-brainer on those. If you look at the ROI, it's 16%. The monthly income's over $500 a month. They're 3-bedroom, 2-bath. Most of them are over 1,200 square feet per side, and they're just really nice. This particular builder, we have done several with him. He's great to work with. And he literally just sent me a new list this morning of additional addresses that he is building on that will be available between now and the next 5 months.
Hey, and Terry, really quick, we just had a good question come in. Wanted to figure, while we're talking about duplexes, someone was asking, why are the duplexes in such high demand?
What I can't answer that. I don't know. They have been, and my best guess is that we have a lot of people that buy them, and they live in one side and rent the other, which
Right.
covers their whole mortgage. And we have a lot of people that buy them, and it's a great investment. But that's one of the main reasons, because if somebody's doing their first investment, they can live in one side, and their own whole investment is paid for by the other rent.
Totally.
So that's gotten in over the past 3 years. That's been a growing sensation that has happened with these duplexes. Investment wise, they're awesome to have.
Yeah, and it seems like those cash flows are
the
much better on those duplexes.
Well, you have the dual income. So in the single family homes right now in our area, the price is higher. The rents are, about the same as the one side of a duplex, but you've only got one income. So, if you're getting a duplex, you got double income. So they cash flow. Most of the single family homes do not cash flow in our area.
Got it.
And the duplexes do. They cash flow in Cape Coral, and they cash flow in Lehigh. So our whole area is just kind of been like that.
Awesome. Thank you for that.
This one here, this is this duplex is beautiful. We have been here several times. This is on the water. It's on an intersecting canal. And if you go on the website and look at the photos of this, the backyard, these people put they probably put $15,000 into paver in the backyard, and making it, kind of step down into where the water comes. It's got a seawall in place, and it's got this beautiful view of the intersecting canals. On the left-hand side facing it, the older couple that owns it lives there. The place is absolutely immaculate. The right-hand side, their daughter lived in, and she moved out, and they never rented it. So it's actually never been a rental. So they've taken care of it as, the whole place was their own, because it was. But it's absolutely gorgeous. It's one of the lowest priced on the water duplexes available right now. 4-bedroom, 4-bath, just under 2,300 square feet. It's just, all I can tell you is gorgeous. Look at the photos on this. If you want something on the water does get a little bit higher rents than the other properties. This one here, I think they said would get $1,325 per unit. And it's going to have great appreciation because it's on the water. But it's beautiful. It's so taken care of. This is in Lehigh. Now, Lehigh is a different animal than Cape Coral. The biggest difference is Lehigh Acres is on well and septic. And for those of you who are not familiar with that, Kenny can explain how the septic system works. But Lehigh Acres is lower priced. It's kind of it's very much a blue collar area, but it's a very affordable area, so it's very popular. It gets a lot of first time buyers, single, like new couples coming in looking for their first purchase, rentals, even people that are retiring because their pension goes further there, just because the prices are lower. Kenny works in Naples, which is very higher affluent area, but he's got guys that work with him that live in Lehigh just because of the affordability. So if you look at the difference in price between Lehigh and Cape Coral, it's about pretty much $100,000 difference in price, and the rents are about it can be anywhere from $50 to $100 a month difference in price. So Lehigh The price is lower. The rents are comparable. They always cash flow better than Cape Coral just because of the price. The tenants that you get in Cape Coral are a little bit better tenants, so they take a little bit better care of your property. But Lehigh is such in demand just because of the affordability, and they rent like crazy. Our property management normally has everything rented that we bring them, under 30 days. So it's it is. This is your typical. It's 4-bedroom, 2-bedroom, 2-bath on each side. And what we have is normally we get either 2-bedroom, 2-bath or 2-bedroom, 2-bath plus a den, and they rent for anywhere from $1,050 to $1,100 per side. But always read the small print that I have underneath, because I kind of get more information on that. These have garages. There are some that don't have garages. Most of these, they always come with full, kitchen appliances, washers and dryers. Normally we do not. The owners do not supply, and the property manager prefers that, because that's one less appliance that you as the owner has to take care of. And most tenants bring their own washers and dryers anyways. So if you look down on these, concentrate, the monthly income on this is, over $600 a month, which is really strong. The ROA is about 10.38. This is your typical, this one's priced at $247. I would say that we could probably go into that one at about $235 to $240. This is a triplex. We don't get very many of these. This is in Cape Coral. The triplexes and quads are very hard to come by because they're not really building new ones right now, and most of them are a little bit older. But this one's been renovated on the inside. All the assessments are paid. It is on city utilities, so which is nice. And they always have their own, electricals, but the tenants pay all the utilities on all these. So, and these are pretty good. These are right now they're $1,100 a month, which is a pretty good going rate. A couple are 1075, so those could be raised. But once again, you look at the ROI is just under 15%. Monthly income is over $600 a month. So this is a nice property for somebody that wants something a little bit bigger. I think that's it on the properties I showed. If you go on the website, there's a whole lot of other properties listed. If you're interested in single family homes, because we have another area in LaBelle, which is an area that is up and coming. It's a smaller area, but those single family homes are the ones that do cash flow because they have a higher rent just due to demand of the area. But if you have any questions, or if there's anything that's not on the website and that you're looking for, let me know and I will find it for you.
What's the next slide? Let's see if it's going back into me.
And I can cover some of this stuff here. So
Sure.
on the previous slide there, this is where you can find our pre-recorded webinars, articles, other types of guides in terms of just learning more about some of the markets and properties, and just helpful tips and articles. One really nice piece of information we offer is the Reddick property rating ebook. It really just gives the readers or investors more of a philosophy of how we rate properties and everything that goes into that, right? So there's luxury class all the way to D class, and we explain why we like to stick to the A, B, and C classes. And this book goes into detail of what makes up an A-class property, what makes up a B-class property, and so on, and what to expect in terms of variable expenses for those properties when it comes to maintenance and vacancy. So this is free for you guys. It's on our website. I'm more than happy to send in a link so that you have access to this after the webinar, and we'll make sure to get that out to you guys as well, okay? So next, we're gonna do one more poll question here, and stand by while we get the question up. So based off of some of the properties that we just saw, how soon would you be looking to invest in Florida? The selections are right now, next 6 months, next 12 months, and not likely. So what we're trying to do is just based off of your previous for the numbers, we want to get some indication of what you guys are thinking. As we get deeper into the presentation, we're going to go over a little bit more of specifics of what each part of town, has to offer in terms of employment and things of that nature. So we'll let you guys vote for a couple more seconds here, and then we'll jump back in. So stand by. Okay, guys, it looks like we have the majority of the votes in. So it looks like we have about 17% right now, which is exciting to see. Next 6 months, and about 50% of you. And then for the next 12 months, about 25% of you. So that's really good for us to know as I do my follow-ups and we get you guys connected with Ken and Terry. It just helps us get a better indication of where you guys are at. So Ken, I believe the next slide will be, well, actually, this is me. We do have data, market data packets, which have all of the demographics, a lot of the stats involved in each of these markets. So for those of you that learn a little bit more with, data and reading, this is going to be a great avenue for you to learn more about this market. Some of you prefer the webinar version. Some of you prefer, getting on the phone with one of us. But this is a really great piece of information, you guys, to learn more about hyper specifics about these markets. So this is also on the website. And as I said, like the ebook, more than happy to send this out to anybody who is interested. Now, I believe, Ken, it is back to you. I'll let you cover the rest of this here, okay?
Okay. So we're going to talk about a little bit about the Southwest Florida and why to invest there. There's usually three things that, people like about Florida when they come down here, whether to move or they're looking for jobs. It's usually the water is huge. Weather is obviously pretty stable down here, and taxes. It's a lot of state tax that gets a little bit of relief because we have so many people that visit the state of Florida that they pass a lot of the taxes off, like in bed taxes and people vacationing, they pay it in their hotel fees and stuff. So what we've seen is a lot of corporations are moving down to the state of Florida because of the tax incentives that our previous governor was giving. So we got a lot of big companies that are moving down here currently. They are really looking for a lifestyle for their employees. So Southwest Florida is a great place for them to move their world headquarters for a lot of different. Neogenomics is another one that's just moving down here. I believe they're based out of California as well. Last time I was out there, I was looking them up. But we have no state income tax whatsoever. It is a very landlord-friendly state. So if you rent a property and you have someone that's not paying rent or you have an issue with a tenant, it's pretty easy. The eviction process usually takes about 30 days to get somebody evicted. So the property management company does a real good job of keeping the properties rented up. It's growing in job diversity down here. When we moved down here in 2001, it was kind of very sleepy, not so sleepy, but it was really starting to grow. And tourism is always going to be Florida's number one job, motivator. Tourism runs the country, runs the state down here. Everybody comes down here, obviously, for Disney and, but all the big cities and the beaches, and everybody wants to be down here in the water. Manufacturing, research, medical, and aviation has really taken off in our area, especially driven by the airport expansion. So there's I don't know if the slide's on here tonight, but it's called the Skyplex in Fort Myers. A lot of the information, if you guys are looking to buy in the next 6 months or 12 months, or I can even target you 8% that I saw there that are not likely to buy down here. So I don't know what that really kind of means, not likely. Maybe I have to convince you, or maybe you should take a trip down here and just see what Southwest Florida is all about. But there's a lot of opportunity down here. We've had a gentleman that's been an investor with Marshall Reddick for probably over 15 or 20 years. He bought duplexes in Lehigh Acres about 3.5, 4 years ago for about $115, and Terry's got them. She turned them, just listed them and sold them not too long ago for $239, $225, $230. So that's an amazing return on his investment. And the cash and the rents were continually going up. And what he's doing is he's going to liquidate his properties in Lehigh Acres because he made such a good return on them, and he's going to start buying higher end properties in Cape Coral on the water. So It's a great place to invest. Everybody's portfolio, anybody that's bought in Florida, at least from us, we've gotten nothing but good reviews as far as their return on their investments, or their investments are performing very well. So residential, commercial construction, and tourism is just always it's the bread and butter down here. It's always been that way. Some of these numbers are not correct right now. Lee gained, I believe these numbers, the slide, and it's my mistake, but the current slide now, Lee County gained over 17,000 jobs last year. Collier County went from 9,000. I think these are 18's numbers, 2018, but 2019, Collier County added 9,000 jobs last year. So our area is just, it's just continually adding jobs. We've got big companies that are moving into the area. Obviously Hertz is down here, a lot of spin-off from Hertz. A lot of other big companies are coming into play. Our unemployment sits below 2.9%. Lee County had the lowest job rate in a 5-county region in our area, according to a report by the Department of Economic Opportunity. So it obviously really is just blowing up down here. We're starting to see a lot of commercial growth in Cape Coral. There was an article just the other day in Cape Coral that there is $700 million worth of permitted commercial real estate on the books, and that's due to break ground in the next year and a half. The amount of people moving to Cape Coral, when people come to South Florida and they come to the Fort Myers area, they want to live in Cape Coral because Cape Coral has everything right at its fingertips. You got the water, you got 14 state parks that are throughout the Cape. The Cape itself is about 115 square miles, and it's a very diverse city. It's the third largest city by landmass area in the state of Florida. So that's where we do majority of our business. Marshall Reddick Investors invested over 60 contracts last year just in the Southwest Florida market. So that's 60 contracts that Terry got to closing for investors that were serious about buying down here and getting their portfolios built up. The only complaint we hear is that when the investors are buying, and they bought like this particular gentleman did 4 or 5 years ago, they wish they had more revenue to buy more. They wish they would have bought 5 or 6 more units at the time. So we consistently see steady growth. We're not seeing any of that runaway stuff, down here. They're building hospitals everywhere. That slide that I just clicked off of, that's Lee Health Systems. They just built a 175-room hospital right down the street from where we live in Lee County, South Lee County. There's 2 other hospital expansions going on where they're adding on to the hospitals, like 10 floors going up on the hospital in Gulf Coast Town and Gulf Coast Hospital, and then the other one down in downtown Fort Myers is Lee Memorial, which is a level 1 trauma center. They're expanding that. So another slide here, Florida biggest winner of wealth moving out of northern states. We're seeing a massive amount of people moving out of here from New Jersey and New York. My mom lives up on Long Island. She's just getting hammered, like I'm sure you guys get hammered in California with property tax. She lives in a 1,200 square foot house paying $15,000 a year for property tax. So
crazy.
They're just leaving in droves. They're all coming down here. So Florida nets $17.2 billion from inbound moves versus outbound. So we everything is moving in a really good direction down here, and it has been for the last 5 to 7 years. Unemployment continues to drop. Amazon just opened up a brand new facility down by the airport. It's about 60,000. They're in the process now in the construction zone, or the actual airport construction zone. They're opening up another facility over 200,000. They're going to make it a distribution center down here, and they're looking 10 years down the road because the airport's going to expand. They're in the process now. The new control tower just broke ground, so that's an $80 million project that's going to go up, and we're just going to see more and more growth in the airport corridor, which is really huge. So when you start getting big companies and really stable foundations being placed in for the growth in this area, that's what we're looking at indicator-wise. So it just equates to properties appreciating, nice and steady on a yearly basis, and that kind of gives you that return on the investment. This is a hotel that came out of the ground. It's going to be opened up probably in a couple months. This is an older picture. Downtown Fort Myers, it's an older town. It's an older city, but it's gone through some revitalization over the last 5 years. They've kind of turned the city upside down. So there's a lot of now, it's very retro young bistros and restaurants and everything, and walking malls. There's over $500 million on the books in future projects. This is just one of them. There's a couple of new high-rises that are coming out of the ground, and they just broke ground down on the river by one of the bridges down there. They just started a new commercial project where most of the type of lifestyle that they're looking for is where they have commercial real estate on the bottom floor, and then they have 4 or 5 floors of residential above. So it's very popular down here. So people can come, live, eat, and have their lifestyle, and kind of live in the building above all the commercial restaurants, or it'd be black and white house, all these different types of retail shops. So that's really taken off with that type of theme in the downtown Fort Myers area. So if you guys want to get some info on downtown Fort Myers, just go to the myriverddistrict.com. That's another good resource to go to. But if you put in anything into the internet with Fort Myers, you're just going to see a whole bunch of things coming up with the economic opportunities down in South Florida. CapeCoral.net is another good website to look up for Cape Coral. A lot of statistics on what's going on, future projects coming out of the ground. There's just so many. It's too many to list, really. There's probably about 8 or 10 of residential projects, big residential projects. So that's www.capecoral.net, and that gets you right into the county website. You can see how many single-family home permits are being released on a monthly basis, how many duplex units permits are being pulled on a monthly basis. So if you're really somebody into digging the numbers and seeing if this is going to work for you financially and the numbers, it's a good resource. Or if you can't find anything like that, just give Terry a call or give myself a call, or Terry can direct me to get on the phone and kind of get you in the right direction to answer those questions. So this is the Skyplex. If you guys want to see a good overview of that, just go onto YouTube and put in Fort Myers Skyplex, and it'll come up. It's 1,150 acres of prime real estate. Basically what they did was the old airport, this is where the old airport used to sit. So they basically redeveloped the land, zoned it for multi-use commercial, light industrial, and aviation development. We are in the process now. I believe that United is going to be building a huge maintenance facility hangar down here for wide body planes. So we may start seeing United Airlines come down and open up a maintenance facility, and they're going to basically do subcontractor work for other airlines. So that's going to be really good for the area. But there's just a lot of, Gartner just opened up a 280,000 square foot facility down here, and they're an IT company that does IT. So there's a lot of good stuff. When you see the video, you'll see what's going on. And these are just major projects that are popping off in the area. This is Gartner. It employs about 2,000 people right now. They're looking to go way up over 2,300 with their new facility that just opened up in the Skyplex. Arthrex, these guys are massive. They are a global leader in orthopedic product development, trials. They basically make prosthetic hips, knees, shoulders, any kind of joint in the human body these guys make. They just got done with a massive $100 million facility in Collier County, and it's employing quite a few people. So it's a 300,000 square foot facility. And these guys, the spinoff that helps support this company, whether it's in the medical field or in the the contractor or the construction industry, these guys are consistently building. So this project is almost done, and just a lot of strong job market down here, the job growth. So just touch base on Lehigh Acres a little bit. It's one of the largest residential communities in Lee County. Its population is around 100,000. Like we said earlier, these properties out in Lee County, in Lehigh Acres, they're a little less expensive, only because it's further away from the water. To be honest with you, it is the highest elevation in Lee County, so any property in Lehigh Acres doesn't have flood insurance. It's a great place to invest if you have a certain amount of money that you need to do, or you want to spread your money a little bit. Maybe do a duplex in Cape Coral and a duplex in Lehigh, or maybe like the one investor, he did 4 or 5 duplexes in Lehigh, and they performed extremely well. The price point is cheaper. Rents are a little bit cheaper. It's just a growing community. It's a massive community as well. It's about 120 square miles. And it's really located very close to the Fort Myers airport, which is good. Plus, there's a lot of commercial building going on. They're slated for another big commercial boom because there's more and more people. They move into the area. They're new to the area. They're looking for a job. They can afford a nice small home out there, 1,500 square foot house out there, and call that home for a little bit until they get settled in the area. So there's a lot of good opportunity. Cape Coral is nicknamed the waterfront wonderland. It's a boater's paradise. Cape Coral real estate provides access to the Gulf of Mexico. There's quite a few areas in Florida, but this one is probably one of the largest where you can have a boat in your backyard and just be out in the Gulf of Mexico, or take your boat to restaurants or shopping or stuff like that. So it's a unique location in South Florida. A typical house on the water down here, in the southern part of the Cape where it gets very expensive, they go as high as $2 to $3 million for these houses. If you were to buy, say, the most expensive house on the water in Cape Coral for $2 or $3 million, if you were to go over to Fort Lauderdale, that property would probably be anywhere from $5 to $7 million. So we're getting a lot of people moving over from the East Coast because they're getting a lot more land, a nicer house, a bigger house, a newer house. So we're seeing a lot of these people migrate over to the West Coast. Plus, it's not as congested over on our side as it is over in Fort Lauderdale and Miami. So this is a typical shot from the aerial view of what it looks like. This is a real small section of Cape Coral, but the only city in Florida with over 400 miles of boating canals. This whole entire cape, it's called Cape Coral because a cape is, by definition, a landmass that's surrounded by three sides of water. On the top of the screen, you'll see over there on the right-hand side, that's the Caloosahatchee River. And then down in the southern part where you can't really see it at the bottom of the screen, that's where the Gulf of Mexico is. So it's a pretty unique place. People love living on the water. They can have their house, and then have their boat on a boat lift in the backyard, and that works really well. So Cape Coral just completed a $10 million convention center. This was done about a year ago. It's a large facility. It's located at the Westin Hotel at Tarpon Point. So this Tarpon Point, the Westin Hotel, this used to be a condominium complex in the heyday when we were going through the real estate boom. And the Westin Hotel came in, and this condo complex kind of went belly up. So the Westin hotel chain saw a huge opportunity. So they came in, they bought the hotel, and they literally, they bought the condominium complex and turned it into a hotel, which is really unique. But they really come down, they wanted to focus on that type of venue to have where they have a marina, they have a convention center, they have a lot of shopping and restaurants that walk along the water's edge. So it's really turned into an unbelievable asset for Cape Coral with regards to jobs are always available. There's all kinds of, support services. You can rent boats, jet skis. It's a family destination, and that's kind of what Cape Coral is too. And the Fort Myers area, people come down and they come down on vacation. They love it, and they somehow figure out how they can buy a home or move down here. That's kind of unique to our area. This is a huge Sunseeker resort. This is up in Punta Gorda, and there's an airport up there. It's Fort Charlotte Airport. It's a smaller airport, probably smaller than Fort Myers, but it is getting bigger. But the gentleman who owns Allegiant Airlines is basically dumping in a huge project. I'm going to have some more information about this. We were up there a couple of days ago looking at some duplexes that we're going to put on the website for sale, and this one location, it was 250 acres on the Port Charlotte Harbor, and I counted 11 tower cranes up. So they're putting all these high-rise condominiums up. So there'll be more information coming up about Punta Gorda and the Port Charlotte market. We're going to start pushing up into that area, and we're constantly actively looking for builders that we can build probably at good affordable prices, because land is a little bit cheaper up in the Charlotte area. So we're working those things out, and we'll probably have some product with us when we come out in our next trip to SoCal in a couple of months. And this is our property management company. This is Travis Desir and Kimberly. They are the property management company. They handle right now about a little over 300 properties for Marshall Reddick. These guys have been in business for a while in the Cape. Travis and Kimberly are natives of Cape Coral, so they know a lot about it. They are somebody that you're going to want to have a talk to. Obviously, and get some question with regards to the property management. They can send you a contract, so you can look over the contract, the rental agreement. There's a lot of information that I probably can't cover. So if you guys are going to be investing in the next couple of months,
we always have a conversation with them first.
Yeah, how about you? Terry will get you in touch. If you're in the process of looking, Terry kind of formulates an email, and everybody's on the same email, and kind of get you all together to group chat. You can talk and get those questions answered. If you guys want to come down and take a look around in the area, just give us some heads up. a couple of weeks would be good if you're going to look to come into the area. And we'd be happy to meet with you guys and drive you around like Guillermo did. He came down for 2 or 3 days with his wife, and he's looking to increase his portfolio down here. So Terry set up a meeting with Travis and Kimberly, and he went into the office and met with them, shook their hands, and kind of just met with the property management company and kind of gave them a rundown on how they run the show. So that's something that, obviously you need to check that box if you guys are going to start moving and buying down here. They obviously are real estate investors as well. There's a lot of information about these guys. I don't know how much we're going into, but Florida is also big in colleges. The two big colleges down in our area, which have grown tremendously, is Florida Gulf Coast University and Florida Southwestern. They have huge nursing programs, physician's assistant programs. They're just two really big. There's 9 other colleges in the area, but these are some of the 2 biggest universities that are in our area. Florida Gulf Coast has grown from probably 5,000 students to well over 15,000 in the last 2 years. The campus is exploding. We're seeing a lot of expansion on their affordable housing for students and stuff like that. And it just creates jobs. We're seeing a lot of the student center, which they built, had huge amounts of restaurants and just everything really cranking up for the colleges. This is the University Village you see on the lower left there. That just opened up last year. So basically the college wants to keep all their students on campus, so they started building housing. They put in one specific unit that had over 300 apartments for student housing, and then obviously restaurants and everything to support that. So it just means more jobs, which is good for the economy. Beaches, it's kind of easy peasy. It's just a lifestyle. The water's beautiful down here. We have white sugar sand. So Fort Myers Beach is a big draw. We have spring break down here every year. Things are just huge. Everything down in Florida is around the water. So if you're an outdoor enthusiast, kayaker, boater, fisher, you name it, you can do it down here. And that's what's a big draw to the Southwest Florida area. JetBlue Ballpark, this sucker was built in 2012, and let me tell you, there's a lot of growth going on around this place. It is the spring training center for the Boston Red Sox. We also have the Minnesota Twins down here. This large chunk of commercial real estate was developed in 2012 on the edge of Lehigh Acres. Well, now we're starting, and it's adjacent to Skyplex, and you could throw a rock from the ball field and hit the airport. That's how close it is. So all that land that's designated commercial is all being built. There's hotels coming out of the ground now to support the ballpark, to support, the airport, everything around it. Gartner is big out there. So there's a lot of companies that are taking advantage of the commercial real estate around the airport because it's got good access to I-75 and the airport. But spring training is huge in our area. We literally get over 2 to 3 million visitors in the spring training time. I mean, during season, we get 2 to 3 million. We usually get about I think it's like over $3 to $4 million in revenue that just comes into Lee County for spring training. There's a lot of businesses come down, and spring training is just a big draw to our area. This is just a picture of some of the high rises that are going up in the area. Just random pictures of cranes there. The one picture on the left is Kalia Bay. There's 5 22-story towers that are going up. This is in the higher end part of the south part of Lee County going into Collier County. Just to give you an idea, the condos in these, they start at about $800,000 on the bottom floor, and every single floor they go up about $100,000. So these towers are coming out of the ground. That building you see there is already done and completed. It completed last year, and they're already breaking ground on the next tower, and there's 5 more going up. So when we start seeing these cranes come back to the Florida skyline on the water's edge on the coast, we know that the market's back, because these big investment brokers are not going to be putting money into the game if they know they're not going to get their money out of it. It is a little different, like I said, than the boom days, because the banks are not just giving stuff away now. You got to put a lot of money down to get into the investment side. So it's kind of keeping the market stable, which is good. Hertz, these guys came into town in 2015. They're expanding, adding jobs consistently. So they're just a big player. They're in town. They're not going anywhere. They moved their world headquarters from New Jersey down to South Florida. Basically, Lee County said, hey, if you move your world headquarters down here, you guys don't have to pay corporate income tax to the county for 10 years. So they moved everything. They built a brand new facility. This is right across the street from where we live. They cleared 75 acres and then just put this building up in like 2 years. So another big draw. The area is seeing more and more companies, big, large companies, move their world headquarters down here because of the tax climate that the governor Rick Scott created when he was in office. We're starting to reap the benefits. So the state welcomed over 100 million visitors, the entire state of Florida in 2017. That number's way up. 9.5 in annual passengers locally, 9.5 million, 23,000 daily passengers come through the airport, and 217 flights. Like I said, the airport right now is pretty much pinned. They need to build more gates and more runways. So they realize that, they know that, and they're moving in the right direction to get everything lined out where they can start handling more passenger traffic. They're going to build a brand new terminal. This terminal here was built back in '05, and they're adding in every aspect to the airport, whether it be freight, commercial, or just flights in general. They're starting to pull more carriers down here, which is good. And that's pretty much it on the Florida market. There is a bunch of other slides with a lot of more data. I don't want to put anybody to sleep. Like I said, our time is limited, but if you go on the website, you go into the Florida link, you can click on one of our old webinars off the Marshall Reddick site, and that'll be the full blown out presentation that we do when we come to town. So it'll be a little bit more lengthy, but you can look at it at your leisure and look at all the other information and data. But like I said, if you guys are interested, you have questions, you've got Terry's email, you've got her phone number, you got Vince's phone number. If there's any way that we can help you guys expand your portfolio or answer a question, please feel free to reach out to us, and we'll do what we can to facilitate you guys in what you need. So that's pretty much it on our end.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Ken and Terry, for giving us all that information. And you guys, like Ken just mentioned, really important that to use Ken and Terry's experience and take advantage of the opportunity to set up a call with them, to set up a call with myself, and be able to dive more into specifics of your particular situation and scenarios. So really happy that you guys were all able to join. We appreciate your time. And again, thank you to Ken and Terry. We'll be sending out a recorded version of this to all you that attended, and we appreciate it so much. So thank you very much. Bye-bye.
Thanks, everybody.
All right. Take care, guys. Good night.